This resource meeting to order at 2 o'clock. Would you give a blessing, please?
Please stand for the blessing. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. We lift up prayers for healing for all those who are suffering today, whether in hospitals or undergoing treatments for serious illnesses. We know that you hear our prayers, and we ask for you to watch over our law enforcement and our marshal service, and bless all of us here today with guidance and decision-making as we represent our fellow Cherokee citizens. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Victoria Vasquez. Candace Teehee. Melvina Shotpounce. Mike Shambaugh. Josh Sam. Dora Patskowski. Wes Snowfire. Darrell Legg. Johnny Kidwell. Mike Dobbins. Joe Deere. Sean Crittenden. Julia Coates. Danny Callison. Keith Austin. E.O. Smith. Rex Jordan. You have a quorum.
Approval of the minutes from the April 10th meeting.
So moved.
A motion second, all in favor? We're moving down to reports and management resources. Mr. David Moore.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to see you all here. It's nice to be here. It's been a while. COVID stuff. That's all I got to say. But I know y'all have our report. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions you got. I know it's a kind of everybody's busy week this week with graduations and all kinds of stuff going on. And facilities boys are busy. I know that, with setting up for these. But if you got any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions for David? Go ahead, Joe.
I just looking for an update, JWCM,
On which part?
the sign, and then
I have to get hold of somebody on that sign because it's supposed to have already been up.
and then you guys are like 95% done over there. Are you still at 95?
On
The inside,
the inside?
Yeah. ish.
Yeah, well, we've had leaks that we've been chasing around up there.
Yeah.
And that's why we're still at 95%. But they're starting to move in over there.
Yeah.
Totally in. So I think it's going to be a nice resource for us once it's all said and done.
Yeah, it looks good. You
Yeah.
guys are doing great.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's going to be really good.
I just didn't know if there was any other new update.
No, I mean, we're still trying to get through the community part of it, get those plans totally done to where we can bid that out. So,
Basketball goals, all that.
You've been inside, hadn't you? That's supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Dobbins.
Thank you, Chair. David?
Yes, sir.
Estimated time, Three Rivers Trail. When's it gonna be finished?
As soon as it gets dry. He's real close. He really
Okay.
is. He's got all the sod around it. He's just got some dirt to get out of there and then some final grading, but man, he's had nothing but mud for the last month.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's very usable right now.
Is it being used now?
I've seen a couple of people, but I'm saying it is very usable right now. He just really and truly likes some final grading and he'll be done.
All right.
Yeah, so it looks really nice.
All right, thank you, David.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions for David? I see none. Thank you, sir. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, David.
Yes, sir.
I had a constituent asking about the new sign for CNOC. Council passed it, supposed to be in Cherokee.
I couldn't hear the what?
Supposed to be a new sign for CNOC.
Okay.
It was, the tribal council passed it when Speaker Byrd was here. It's supposed to be in Cherokee.
It's up on the hill. I think, is that the big monumental sign you're talking about? It was gonna go at the highway, but we got issues there, and then it put
here
it
comes
up on
Tara
the
Lee.
hill now.
All right, Tara Lee.
What part he's talking about for sure.
Health is working on all of the signage for their campus. If there's a specific question, we can take it back to them, but last I heard, it's still in process.
That was the question. So,
Okay, I
all
didn't
right.
know if you were talking about the big monumental sign
No.
or the drive up.
All right, thank you.
Yep,
Any other questions for David? Thank you, sir.
thank you very much.
Real Estate Services, Ginger Reeves.
Hello.
I believe you have my monthly report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
Any questions for Ginger? Go ahead.
Ginger, did you ever find anything about that BIA land at Oak Hill that we are wanting to get them to sign it over so we can build a community center out there?
It's been approved. It's still in central office.
So it's been approved that we're
Uh-huh.
going to get it?
Right. Well, we should be getting it, but we've known it's been approved for some time. It's just a matter of getting it transferred over, and it's in central office. And in the meantime, the EORO has changed directors, or the realty director, so I've been getting with him on it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So-
We're trying to stay on top of it.
No timeline?
No timeline, but
It's been a while.
it has been. We're talking a few years, in fact.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Ginger? I see none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Secretary of Natural Resources and Environmental Programs, Mr. Chad Harshall.
Good afternoon. I think, you believe you have a copy of the Environmental Programs Report if there's any questions before I highlight a couple other topics.
Any questions for Chad? Go ahead.
Hi, Chad. I noticed under the ITEC technical training notation here, it says staff performed an air data audit for the mobile air sampling unit located in downtown Ada, Oklahoma, on loan from Chickasaw Nation. I don't know exactly what that means, but I find it great that we're working in cooperation with our fellow tribal nations to make our air and water and make sure that things are as being responsible as we can be. Do you know any more about that you can share?
I do. So the environmental, or ITEC is what we call it, the Intertribal Environmental Council is a group that we operate out of our environmental programs. And it is really more like a collective of tribes across the country that want to participate. And we receive annual funding from the EPA to do capacity building with other tribes. And so that's why this equipment is loaned out to other tribes and across the country. Under ITEC, that's what our obligation is with the EPA funding, is to go out to other tribes and let them use our equipment, train them, build capacity on how they can set up their own environmental programs. And so that is one particular example where we've worked with the Chickasaw Nation in that project.
Excellent. Appreciate that.
All right, if I could highlight a couple of topics. I know every month I try to give an update on our electric vehicle infrastructure projects, and pleased to announce that we have completed 2 significant projects, one being an electric vehicle charging station, a solar canopy similar to what we have out in front of the complex at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. That project is completed, it's in service. All the charging, including level 3 and level 2 charging, is free to the public. So it's unusual to have the level 3 charging like that. It's probably the only one, if not the only one, in the region. And then we have completed the construction for the solar canopy in Veneta, and it's imminently will be activated and available to the public. And so those are some significant projects that we've been working on for a number of years, and it can be complex at times, and all of that is maybe a testament to Pat Gwynn and his efforts, because he's been leading that project for a while now. One other item I'd like to highlight is our seed bank. We have completed our mail-out initiative for all of the requests that we had. I think we mailed out a total of 8,700 packages, which is a little less than last year due to some weather constraints that we had over the past year, but still it's an expanding program, and we get a lot of interest, and a lot of hard work goes from my staff in getting those out the door. It's almost like an assembly line type operation with all hands on deck to get the mail out in time for planting in the spring. And then one other item I'd like to highlight is earlier this month, we launched the Food and Farm Worker Relief Grant. You may have observed some communications work, press releases and the like on this program. And so a little background, I guess. So this is a $45 million grant that we've partnered with USDA to deliver $600 checks to frontline workers who've been engaged in agriculture and meatpacking. And so we are targeting any person who is a member of a federally recognized tribe across the country, and then any person, whether they are a member of a tribe or not, within our reservation boundaries, with priority going to members of federally recognized tribes. So the application is open on the portal, on the Gadugi portal. We also have a website and a call center that has frequently asked questions, explains what documentation is required. And then we've we've brought on a considerable amount of staff to help manage that program and get these applications processed. So they completed their training last week. I think they did a refresher training today. And then we should begin the process of approving and reviewing applications over the next 2 weeks. So if there's any questions on that particular program.
Danny?
Chad, thank you very much for being here today. On the agricultural and the meat packing deal, does that mean you have to work at a slaughterhouse, or you have to work for a grocery store in the meat department, or what? I've seen the communications we've had, but I've had several people want to know, does it go all the way back to the farmers growing the beef?
So this is part of a larger program that USDA deployed to cover certain segments of like the supply chain and people engaged in this agricultural work. The program that we're administering is intended to go to frontline workers, so folks who have been engaged in some amount of paid agricultural work, not necessarily owner-operators of a ranch, but people in the meatpacking industry, people who earn a wage in cattle ranches, livestock workers, field workers in agriculture of any kind. That's really what this is tailored to. So owner-operators wouldn't necessarily apply unless the person who is applying has been paid, compensated through verification of W-2s or letters of, from the employer that they've been paid in agricultural work. So.
Okay, and also, Councilor Austin and I went through your deal at Rogers County with the Claremore sixth graders, and I want to commend you and your staff for, it turned out to be, on a rainy day, very good, a very good deal. And it's very educational. Thank you very much for you guys' efforts on that.
Thank you.
Julia?
Yeah. Hi, mine's along the same lines, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, and but I do want to verify if we're looking at people who are in processing, right? So agricultural processing, cannery workers and so forth, who are paid wage laborers. I've gotten that inquiry because they had to buy their own PPE, et cetera, and they would be eligible for this. Is that correct?
I believe so. If they're engaged in some amount of paid agricultural work, whether it be field work, meat packing, livestock work, they should be eligible for this program, assuming they have the appropriate documentation and they're a citizen or a member of a federally recognized tribe.
This is not meat packing. This is agricultural processing, though, right?
Both.
Yeah.
So we are targeting and providing notices to people specifically in the meat packing industry, but the program, as we've are managing it for the USDA, is broader and applies to agriculture work, field workers, livestock workers, meat packers, and folks adjacent to that category.
Darrell?
Kind of along the same lines. What if you, I got a Cherokee guy that owns his own deer processing plant there in Salisal. What about it for him and his employees?
I think that could fall under the meat packing part of it. We have an FAQ page on the Cherokee Nation website that walks through specific examples and which category of labor classes that if that person would need to fall under to reach any particular category.
Yeah.
And so on that specific example, I think it may, but I would like to double check.
Okay.
And then we also have a call center on the website that's operated during business hours. So if you have any questions come up in your communities, folks want to reach out. But I think by virtue of just owning a business entity doesn't necessarily qualify you. It would be more targeted to the frontline workers who receive a wage.
Gotcha.
Danny?
Can you give us that call center number?
Sure. 918-453-5058.
5058?
And the website is www.foodandfarmworkersrelief.cherokee.org. foodandfarmworkersrelief.cherokee.org.
Number, one more time.
918-453-5058.
Thank you.
Keith, you have a question?
Yes. If the producer, the farmer, the rancher, the business owner receives this information, I've had one specific that received the information and goes, it doesn't apply to me, I'm an owner-operator, but if he has paid people and they've received a 1099 or W-2, could he forward that message to them to apply?
I mean, I think any type of, we're trying to spread the word to anyone who may be eligible. I mean, so certainly reach out to them and say that, guide them to the website or the call center and let them know that they may be eligible based on what, he's reading, and then their specific fact determination, the documentation they can provide, all of that will be reviewed by our application review team, and they'll determine if he is in fact eligible.
So in my district, there's a large company that makes feed. All their workers, I would assume, would be people who would be most likely eligible because they're in the process of supporting agricultural. I would assume that would be correct?
I think, we'd have to look at the categories of the way that the Department of Labor categorized that type of work. I would be hesitant to say in that particular instance because I don't know the full details of the kind of work that they do. But generally, the major categories are, field workers, employees engaged in planning, harvest activities such as packing operations, livestock workers, employees tending livestock milk, including farm machinery operations, and then employees engaged in livestock processing and packing. I don't know necessarily that would fall within that last category, but we could take a look, and if you can connect me to those individuals, we'll see.
Thanks.
Sean?
Yeah, thank you. Chad, you might, this is going to be a great thing. You might get someone to make us just a bullet point. These people will qualify because I'm having questions, agriculture is vegetables and, things that, there's a factory that cans vegetables, There's people who, I got a friend who works for a rancher. That's how he makes his money. He's building his fences, keeping his cows in, feed stores. I think that's what Keith was referring to, making, and, in Stillwell alone, there's, in Westfield, probably about 10 different places that produce, feed for the livestock. So I think it'll be really helpful to everybody involved, us, your phone workers, and everybody to really get us that thing that we can convey out to the folks without, the website is good and will be utilized, but I can handle just a sheet of paper shared or something. I think it might help us all out.
Not a problem. I can do
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, Chair.
So, and this is something that can be accessed through the Gadugi portal?
Yeah, so the Gadugi portal is the primary place where folks who are interested in this program would go and apply, and then it goes through our processing team, and they treat it on a first-come, first-served basis with priority given to members or citizens of a federally recognized Indian tribe.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Secretary, and thank you for the time, Chair.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question, I have a quick comment. I don't know why, but the last 2 weeks, I've had at least 10 people call me and tell me how happy they were that they could use their Cherokee ID to fish. I guess it's just that time of year, but I've also had numerous people talking about their kids. If they just don't know, they think they know, but man, everybody is pretty pumped up about that, and that you guys did a really good job. And a lot of people are very, very happy.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Did you say when the cutoff date is? Did I miss that?
For the Food and Farm Worker Relief Grant,
Uh-huh.
we are going to leave it open until funds are exhausted. So it's open now, and it'll stay open until we issue about 68,000 payments.
Okay.
Keith?
Chad, I see in our book, the page dedicated to the Registry of Historic Places, adding the Little Flock Church officially. And for those who were able to be there, you can understand why it's a special place. This brings me much joy to see us studying and adding places to our registry. These are the kind of places to where once they go, we can never recapture them. And it's in that condition right now to where if you don't protect it now, it's going to become a relic to history. and instead of telling our history. And today, we still can save it so that we can tell our history with it. So thank you for continuing that. That's very important. Thank you.
Yeah. The Little Flock Baptist Church it really is a special place. So I was also happy to be able to participate in that historic day.
Any other questions? I see none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Old business none pending, new business none pending. Announcements, the next meeting is June the 12th at 2 o'clock. I need one more motion.
Second.
We are adjourned.